I'm Mike Hayne, and I'm talking to you. Crime. In 1973, I was 19, and I did my first crime, a burglary. I've already described that in earlier episodes. I have less than 15 minutes to talk about this stuff. The fifth burglary was in 1973, and it was a setup. It's very difficult to talk about, but first I want to talk about crime. 1977, the brothel, the human trafficking from the border, the indentured servitude of the Mexicans, the money laundering, the drugs, the prostitution. Holy moly! 1977, when I was 23, and Robert Matthews, the pimp, was 19. Now, he wasn't Italian. How can he be in the mafia? Houston was a government town. There was no mafia doing the janitorial service, as he called it, in One Shell Plaza. It had just been built. It was new. It was open. How fortunate for Robert Matthews. He did tell me it was the Banditos motorcycle group gang. Crime is so hard to talk about. It's so convoluted. A con man, and I'm a fool. So the crime was 1973, 4 burglaries, plus an additional one. That was a setup. 1977, the brothel, and just the horrors of the gang, and I quit playing guitar and left. Get away from me, and I became a writer. 1978 to 1980, stalked in Houston. When I went to work, rode the city bus to work. My apartment was burglarized, and my story outlines were stolen. 1981, Texas A&I, I was already 27. Defamed, plagiarized, stalked, not allowed to be free. A bad FBI file that should have been stopped. Hey, we're wrong about this guy. Hey, you know, and that was right at the time when serial killers were beginning to go. I watched the FBI files on A&E. There can be nothing more ridiculous and stupid than rape, murder. The two don't go together. You got to be insane, of course, that's the point. Violence doesn't go along with sex, so they need to clean up their stupid sexual theories in their universities. That's called the rape culture. I'm the man, I'm tall. Tell your mother to not have sex with circus animals. That's what Mikey says. Now, I hope I'm making sense, because this is extremely difficult. Today is Tuesday, and I have no time to do this. 15 minutes. This could be an hour. (6:30 p.m. Tuesday, August 20th, 2024, a beautiful nursing home. I'm blessed. I pray to God. From 1967 until now, you don't meet anyone more righteous than Mikey. I've been good, just because I was raised good by my mother, and she died young, and all of a sudden, age 19. When I was 19, she was 54, dies. My cousin Nancy died, my age, 13, 1967. She's listed as dying in 1970, which would have made her 60. My dog, Eric, got run over. Come on, man. In the snow, he was going to the meat man. The meat man would come to the house in a truck. And I come home from school and see the blood in the snow. My dog, Eric, when I was 12. You figure it out. My mother lied to me. I said, why do you never go to church with us? And she said, I'm Episcopalian. She lied. And come to think of it, if you do want to try to believe, I don't particularly believe in the Jewish religion. It was right at that moment when she lied about being half Jewish that the horrors began in our world. The death of my dog, the death of Nancy, my cousin. So I have hardly no time. How long have I already been going here? 6 minutes. Okay, crime. Crime, as I've experienced beginning in 2012 in Death Valley until 2023 in a cheap, dirty, moldy, infested rooming house where I found, it was a mobile home where I found. When I talk about the crimes, which I wrote about in my story Cash Flow, the story of a Houston gang, I wrote about that in the 80s. It's unimaginable. What an educated person says is, that's absurd. Who would do that? Steal a toaster oven and sell it on the internet? Find out which people in the over 55 mobile home community are elderly and alone, and murder them and bury them in the backyard and put one of your people in there to impersonate them? You gotta be joking. Robert Matthews, this goes back to 1977 when I was 23 and he was 20 by that time. It was his father's birthday at the nice house, the house that they had ruined when they moved into the neighborhood in Spring Shadows. You know, all dirty, unkempt, dirty junk everywhere. These criminals, these lowly criminals, always have junk everywhere, all over their houses. Yeah, you want to buy a carpet? No, I don't want to buy a carpet. Get away from me. I'll go to Walmart if I want a carpet. I got a nice set of golf clubs. Get away from me. You moron, go get a job. It's already been 8 minutes now. So we go to the house. Me, Robert Matthews, I was still at the brothel at that time, and his mother and father, and it's his father's birthday. And right in front of his father, it took me a while to figure this out. Matthew says, let's arm wrestle. Let's arm wrestle. I say, no, come on. Let's arm wrestle. The mother and father were sitting on the sofa in the living room of the house they was, by this time, junk. They moved in 1969, a new house, $35,000 in those days. And Matthew said, so I put my hand on the coffee table. Okay, come on. And he says, no, let's lay down on the floor and arm wrestle. I say, no, come on the coffee table. No, let's lay down on the floor. Took me all these years later to realize, in front of his father, he cheated by laying down, arm wrestling me, and bracing his foot against a door jamb. What kind of a person does this? So the fifth burglary. When you get into these situations with these people, like from 2012 to 2023, Death Valley in Las Vegas, what they're doing is so creepy and absurd that your mind doesn't even think of it. What are these, children? Staging little car wrecks so they can get insurance money. Stealing identities. I don't even know. They have me listed as married on the internet. I'm not married. I've never been married. Killing little old ladies in their mobile homes, burying them, or just wait until they die or poison them. And then Well, they're stealing the mobile homes, stealing the houses all over Las Vegas. These people are demented and stupid. Okay, so the setup burglary in 1973 was this. We were going around in the parking lot of a grocery store, and in those days, a Volkswagen Beetle, it was called, you could steal it if it was a standard. There was a way to do it. In 1973, there were no locking steering wheels, nothing like that. You could push start it. So we were looking for a Volkswagen Beetle. So we come up and we find one with the keys in it. So a girl named Mary, myself, all starving, and then two tall teenage boys, they might have been Matthew's friends. Remember, I was still living at the brothel at that time. No, I'm sorry. 1973, I had my own apartment, but it was filled every day with juvenile delinquents that Matthews brought from the school. So he would have been in 11th grade by that time. And the rock and roll stars come to Houston. They don't carry marijuana from California to Houston to put on a concert. It would be too dangerous. So they come to Matthews and they purchase the marijuana. Now, I don't know if they were sneaking with the girls, anyone except the one I could name. I was there and I saw what you did, you freakish little punk. Go play drums. The losers were always the drummers. Except I do respect Max Weinberg. He's excellent. Okay, so go listen to Led Zeppelin. Get out of my hair. So these two teenage boys, tall, young, they say, let's go to a house in Memorial. And when we went to that house, it was open. And we all ran around and burglarized. I stole 6 ounces in individual bags from a third drawer of a bureau in one of the middle bedrooms. For some reason, I like going in the middle bedrooms. Go down to the third drawer, go under the underwear, and find 6 baggies of marijuana. And I stuffed them down my pants, and I didn't tell the others. As we're driving away in the stolen Volkswagen, there was a setup with the keys in it. Mary was driving, I was in the back, and these 2 other guys, I don't even know who they were, but they didn't look like homeless or anything. The ones that had instigated that burglary in the house in Memorial. Some other teenage boys came, 19-year-olds or 18, 17-year-olds, came running out and said, stop, from the house. And Mary caused the car to stall. So I said, get out and run, and we got away with it. And then we got arrested later. And Matthews turned me in. And I think he probably did it because of the 1972 burglary of Vice Principal for Gary's office. Matthews probably bragged about that to everyone. And then he's the one that defecated on Gary's desk. I was shocked. Then we left, got away with it, never talked about it. And then next year, the police come where he is, and he points me out, and they arrest me. A rat, a weasel. And I didn't know what happened to people when they went in jail. But he knew. What a rat. And like I say, I'll try maybe to talk to some of the crimes that I've discovered and things, but it's so ridiculous.